Hello, dear Starshines. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Chats. Hello, hello, hello. For those of you who are new to the chats, my name is Christina and I'm an acceleration expert. And we are here to talk about those topics and issues that are significant for us starseeds, way showers, and new paradigm visionaries. We have perceptions, perspectives, abilities that are not embraced by our larger human family. And therefore, we have a very unique perspective to the challenges that we face today. And I'm here to give, to the best of my ability, a liberated perspective on those pieces that are coming forward that are presenting a challenge for us. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Go ahead, let me know you're here. Say hi. How you doing, Carol? Hey, Beverly. Good to see you. As you guys can tell, I'm coming from yet another location. It's really, really windy outside, and I'm waiting to get into a park nearby here. So I'm coming from the inside of my van, complete with lounge chairs and all. Oh, yes. So there's lots to talk about. There's so much shifting in the energies. That seems to be par for the course these days. And it seems like just when we think it can't get more ratcheted up, boom, it gets ratcheted up. I'm curious if you guys are feeling that it's getting ratcheted up as well. Hello, Tasha. Good to see you, darling. All right. So the things to talk about today, I want to talk about this ratcheting up of energy. I want to talk about some of these new frequencies that are coming in that are really highlighting certain aspects of us that maybe are anchored in discouragement or anchored in places and maybe even affected by mechanisms that tell us it's too good to be true, stuff like this. And this is actually something that came up in a dream clinic last night, but there's a lot more to it. We cleared out a lot in our particular collective, but I think on a much larger scale, this is a really important piece to talk about. So I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about a post that a dear sister Starshine, Christina, all right, so you changed your last name on your profile, so I'm not sure what it is now, but Christina with a K posted, this was a few weeks ago. It was an article about a frog that has certain parts of its function has been successfully replaced by robotics and synthetic constructs. So I want to talk about that because this is a piece that's very, very important for us. As this energy gets ratcheted up, we need to really pay attention to these things and come into right relationship with it. And what I mean about right relationship is that we are not, it doesn't have power over us. We are not struck by an uncontrollable fear, or if we are, we're able to work that fear to get us to places to deep personal healing. So I want to talk about how to come into right relationship with this transhuman, but also trans reality overlay that is getting put out there slowly into the collective. And another piece to weave in here as well is to, I want to talk about these cycles, and I want to talk more about these frequencies and in this narrative about a solar flash. So you guys know that I'm a fan of Suspicious Observer. He is on YouTube. He's a scientist, and he collaborates with other scientists and does a lot of research and reporting about the solar flares, natural disasters, the pole shift, all this other stuff. Now, he's a bit of a doomsdayer, which, because he's in a very scientific, analytical bandwidth, the data shows this is where we're going and there's no hope. This is where we're going, right? And, all we can do is prepare to be strong for what's to come, which I understand that mindset. And the fact that he has it doesn't bother me so much. I really appreciate the information because it's raw data. It's like pure data. And he shows a very, I say, well-rounded perspective on the way he perceives the science, what he perceives as data is saying. Okay, and he addresses a lot of misinformation in the scientific community that a lot of people call scientism. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term. In case you aren't, Scientism is the belief in the scientific dogma of the age. So, for example, there is a great example would be the idea about viruses and bacteria. The only way to fight viruses and bacteria, well, for one, they come to a place that this is how they exist and this is how they engage with us, and then this is the only way to deal with it, and that is medications or whatever. But there's another theory out there called terrain theory, where it's all about your health and vibrancy. It's like the environment of your body. As long as it's healthy and vibrant and in alignment with its natural function, it doesn't matter about what kind of invaders come in your body on a multidimensional harmonic level. Its nature of homeostasis can correct it. So it's all about the environment and how you support your body, your health and your wellness, stuff like this, which is in direct conflict with a lot of the scientism out there when it comes to illnesses. So, so scientism is that there is no other option other than the one we're giving you, and this is not real science, as we know. Real science means that it follows scientific method, as in a question is asked, a hypothesis is put forward, research is done, and whatever your conclusion is, it invites, and for it to really be considered more of a truth, it needs to invite criticism. It needs to invite questioning on a mass scale. And if it can withstand all these different inputs and questionings, then it's more likely that much closer to being a truth, right? But to say something is so and then attack anything that questions it, that's not science. That's not real science. So that's more of scientism. This is the way it is, and that's it, right? So there's an important pieces for us as starseeds, as way showers, as new paradigm visionaries, that we recognize that we are engaging in a process right now that is really challenging the very basic foundations of reality as we know it. And this is ancient wisdom coming into a mass populace understanding, such as we dream the world into being. Everything is a dream before it becomes reality. Everything, there are no individual ideas, because it's all extrapolated from a collective field. We are multidimensional beings in this biosuit. We have the ability to bend and mold this reality to whatever it is that we wish to bring forward, and have co-creators also in biosuits to bring it forward. These are all very, very ancient ideas that are resurfacing on a mass level. And what a lot of people are challenged with is the trauma of the past, the wounding of these layered, these overlays that have been placed upon us generation after generation, and even beyond that, for millions of years. Really, we've been working through a process. So here, let me pause. Dear Sister Tasha says, yes, she could totally tell that it's maxed out for me. Huge. Yes. Exhale. Yes. Yeah. So, we have, see, I'm the one with the phone on. Hold on. Let me shut that off. So, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but, you give your information. I gave my information onto a form that I had to fill out in order to get the services rendered. And then they sell your information. It's like, I could totally tell that happens because, there's this, I will fill out a form, and then for the following many weeks later, I get all these sales calls. I get all these crazy, all this spam stuff coming on. All right. Anyway, that's a side note. That's me complaining about the 3D matrix there. Okay. So jumping back in. So we have all this data in front of us. We get intuitive data. We get, data in our 3D world. We get other people's stories and thoughts. We get all these different narratives and beliefs that we witness all around us. And they're all framed up in a very specific way. They're framed up to trigger us. They're framed up in some way that we don't have the ability, or somehow we are in a disempowered relationship to all these pieces. And for those of us that have been walking the earth for a long time, and there's several that are in the academy that have been walking the earth far longer than I have, there's this you know, tiredness that kind of starts to set in. It's like, I've been doing this for so long, you know, and when I sit back and think about it on a deeper level, I realize, you know, we've been doing this for a long time, many cycles, millions, some in some perspective, billions of years. And some people may have take that information in and find it discouraging. But for me, when I look at it, I find it extremely encouraging. And this is stemming from a conversation I had with the Starshine this morning. You know, we are alive during this amazing time where we have an opportunity to graduate out of this cycle, to graduate out of these larger cycles of evolution, evolving consciousness. And the power over dynamics have been placed in this experience to help us really step forward and claim our sovereignty. So if we, you know, some people call this, by the way, these overlays that I'm talking about, some people call this beast machinery. That's a new term that I've been introduced by our dear sister Starshine, Indigo Angel, and then also by a renowned channeler, psychic intuitive by the name of Lisa Renee. And what this is that there's these overlays on our reality that cause us to start to collude with our own disempowerment, start to collude with our own with the choices that drain our energy, or the choices that perpetuate suffering or perpetuate trauma, or, you know, continue with this cycle. And there's mechanisms within this within these overlays, and it ties into this piece I'm talking about it's too good to be true kind of feeling. So the energies have ratcheted up big time. Hello, dear sister Callie. And what this is doing is it's illuminating us very deep inside, and it's lighting up all the stuff that we really haven't seen yet or been able to touch yet, because it's been buried in our subconscious. It's been buried in the subliminal realms of our awareness. So when they come up and say you've been doing a lot of work, it hits this, you know, we feel disencouraged. Yeah, discouraged. That's the word. Discouraged, because it's like, oh, this again, right? And I want to encourage you guys to recognize that we are clearing out in a single lifetime many millions of years of these overlays of what these ladies are calling beast machinery. We are facing many ages of accumulated stuff. The more this energy pours into our field, the more it illuminates it. So this can be discouraging, but if you look at it in a bigger cycle, you can recognize that, wow, it's actually quite a miracle that we can actually clear up, release ourselves from these overlays in this lifetime. Because there is energy, new light, new frequencies coming to this planet daily. And the collective, I'm moving energy here. The collective is waking up to it, which is creating big waves of shifting in the collective, which is also coming up against this anchored in grid work of closed shutdown consciousness. And how do we shut down consciousness? It's usually done by trauma. It's usually done by some devastation event where all these conclusions, artificial conclusions and overlays come to pass. So let me back up for a minute and go back to that story about the frog. and the robotic and electronically simulated functions that have been inserted into this frog. Now, let me ask you guys, if you saw the article, let me know. But if not, let me know what kinds of things happen when we go into this idea of transhumanism, when we go into this idea of artificially birthing people, when we go into this idea of chips getting put in the head, or animals getting replaced with just these biomechanisms. I remember Howard Stern a long time ago talked about the chickens for Kentucky Fried Chicken, is that they're all hooked up to these tubes and stuff, and the chicken isn't really a chicken, it's just artificially kept alive so its meat would grow, right? Does that give you the heebie-jeebies? He said that, like, oh my gosh, I haven't listened to him forever, so maybe more than 10 years ago he mentioned this, right? So let me know, do these ideas really trigger you? Do you have a fear that sleeping people really will go that direction? Do you feel like that sort of agenda is unstoppable? Is it something that humanity will have to face or will have to go through? Now, the comments that were in this article, there was a lot of disillusionment, there was a lot of discouraging thoughts, a lot of sadness, and this is a way that mechanism that I'm talking about, that beast machinery, works, because it's hitting on real traumas of the past. And it could be Orion Wars, it could be something even more ancient, it could be those of us who feel powerless to the interdimensional AI consciousness. But what I want to say is that this is getting illuminated for us to transmute. It's not getting illuminated for us to re-experience the trauma, okay? And I want to encourage you guys not to get stuck in the trauma. Feel it, have it, know that it's there, and let things move through. And you know that things are moving through because there will be a light somewhere, a light inside of you where you can find, even if it's the tiniest speck, where you can find the aspect of you that knows this was reality or is reality, but still wants to love anyway. Okay, this is such a huge piece. It's not about because of this or because of that. No. There's an aspect of us that is part of creation that doesn't ever stop loving or doesn't ever stop being. Okay, that's that little particle of us that wants to love anyway. And when we can touch that, a lot of this trauma, we just need to touch it with our awareness and sit in it for a moment. And what it will do is it'll start to unravel this trauma that we've accumulated over many lifetimes in relationship to this transhumanistic experience. The Orion Wars was fought over this very thing. It's like, do we use technology to advance consciousness? Which means, people are beings, spirits embodying mechanical, computer type situations, or, advance through the experience of technology? Or do we allow evolution of consciousness to happen organically through a biosuit, through a body like this? So what I'm touching on is an ancient event that is buried deep within. And as these new energies come through, they're hitting on these pieces. And then we have the added aid of these external scenarios showing themselves to us. And when we go down the spiral of despair and hopelessness, if we understand that this is a mechanism that's outside of ourselves, this is a mechanism to challenge us, to, keep us in this spiral. And the way out of the spiral is exactly what I'm saying, is finding that aspect of you that's willing to love anyway. I know this is a really difficult topic to talk about because it hits a lot of pieces for you guys. I'm just feeling this bounce back when I'm saying this. So I just want to chime in on this. Hello, dear sister Ella. Oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. I had a dream. You were in a flash dream of mine this morning. I'm so glad that you're doing okay, darling. And hey, Polly, good to see you. So if we use these things as a tool to dive into a past experience with the intent of having exactly what it is we need to have, as in we need to know it exactly, what it is that we need to know, acknowledge exactly what it is that the soul spirit needs acknowledged, and then once that piece gets hit, it'll start to move and unravel, and we can release these things. But if we are not willing to feel, sense, taste, know, love, then we're going to be in this never-ending cycle of unraveling. When we can touch those parts of us that wants to love no matter what, that exponentially accelerates the process. So you can look at this Frankenstein frog and feel compassion. You can realize, oh my gosh, yes, this really was a thing that happened, and there are still beings on this planet, in this galaxy, that are working that out. And then you can be grateful for the data set. You could be grateful for the experience because it allowed you to touch it and know it and have it, and it no longer has control. It no longer has dominion over your feelings, your thoughts. Okay. So you can truly be detached, but not absent detached, where you can still have this engagement, but it doesn't spiral you anymore because you've worked out and released the trauma. You've been able to forgive deep pieces inside of yourself. You've been able to even forgive Creator for allowing such a thing to happen. Yeah. All right. Dear Sister Tasha says, I feel optimistic about it. When I feed into the feeling of fear, I do start feeling hopeless. Yes. Yeah. So I want to encourage you guys to explore these issues with fellow Starseed friends. And what I mean by that is that, like, say there's something that's really triggering you, like an event. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the war stuff or whatever is really triggering for you. If you can have regular get-togethers with friends that are at or close to your level, or even more so, and hold space for each other to talk it out, this will really help, because you'll realize, number one, you're not alone. There's other people that are feeling this too. There's other people that find this important. There are other people that whose presence can stay here with you. You're not alone in it. And the other thing is that the space being held helps you sharpen your focus. When you have a really nice, compassionate, clear space being held for you, you can really let yourself focus on the feelings underneath the feelings and let the stories come out. And as you let the stories come out, they're not colluded with. Instead, they're just acknowledged. And then that will exponentially help you sort through your stories, sort through those woundings that are rising up from deep within. So this new light, this new energy, it really is very closely, I think, related to the narrative of there's a narrative about the solar flash. There's a narrative about a new dawn. There's a narrative about some sort of massive awakening. I had a dear Starshines share a dream with me where she saw, hold on, check and make sure it's okay I shared that. Yeah, where she saw the people like Starseeds, like us, you guys, me and you guys, were awake. And there's a whole bunch of other humans that are not awake. And that there were these orbs of light that would come right in. And when it came in, they would transition to the other side instantly, but then come back to the realm where we are. And in the coming back to that realm, they would be awake. They would be completely awake, like we are. And that narrative, the details of it doesn't matter. What's important is the feeling we have when we hear those sorts of things. Okay? Because we've been in this cycle for so long, and there's so many overlays of the beast machinery, and other hijackings of truths, reversals and inversions of the truth, that we can't really, well, I say we, but I should change that to me. This is why I don't really buy into the details of any narrative. I go completely from the feeling of it. Does the feeling bring a sense of liberation and openness inside? Is there a feeling inside that senses there's a truth in there somewhere? Okay. Is this hitting on something that maybe some part of me has always known but never been able to put words to? Those are the kinds of feelings that I look that if they arise, tell me to, there's something to what I'm hearing. I don't know if you guys ever listened to some of the channelings by Lisa Renee. Very interesting lady, very hypnotic voice. Lots of transmissions come through there. But I mean, to be honest, I don't understand most of what's being said. And I don't understand the words, but I do really understand the feelings. Okay. There's things that she'll say, and it'll just be a half a sentence, not even a complete thought. And it triggers something inside of me. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, there's something to that. And then I sit with it, and then more stuff flushes out. See, some people are on this planet to bring those zip files to our conscious awareness. And then there's other people on this planet that are here to recognize and digest it and bring it into themselves and get activated and become, embodied on a whole nother level. And then there's also more people out there that are here to be inspired and take action into the world from these places. We all have different roles at different times. Your role that you have now, because you are constantly doing your work, is going to change in a couple of years. It's gonna grow into something else. So when you start looking at life purpose, or why am I here, you start asking those questions. Understand that it's very, very simple. It's very, very, very simple. And if we are able to relax into it and let that guide our steps, let that guide our envisioning, then our walk becomes a lot more graceful. We're able to let go of expectations and comparisons and just walk our lives, which is exactly what we need to do to digest these frequencies that are coming in, these new, I guess I can call new paradigm frequencies. Some people see it as the sun is changed. Some people are having dreams about a new light coming in. And this new light, for some people, it's liberating, and for other people's, it strikes aspects where that beast machinery is still active in these different fields of their being. Now, I'm using those words because so you can have the image to understand. If you think about machinery can be disassembled. It's a mechanical, non-feeling thing. It's like there's a mechanism that comes in that triggers the actions, and then it does what it does. That's why I like the word machinery, because once you recognize that there's this kind of machinery operating in the subconscious and in these interdimensional realms, with the intent of keeping you colluding with these power over dynamics, then you can choose a different relationship to it and start looking for, what is the mechanism to disassemble this machinery? What is the mechanism? What's the golden key? What's the magic key to unlock this process that's happening? So that's why I like that particular term. And it really does show itself in our 3D world. When we talk about it, especially in our group, when we talk about it, it seems like we're talking about something way out there in the interdimensional planes, or way out there in the cosmos, or way deep inside. But it doesn't really, the language doesn't necessarily connect the dots to the human experience until you clear it. And then once the energy gets unraveled or dismantled, whatever the process is, all of a sudden you realize that dynamic has been impacting you your entire life. or even that dynamic has been impacting you and your family your entire life. Okay. This is why I know all this stuff is playing out within the 3D realm, because there's so many things that I've unraveled where it completely changed the three-dimensional reality around me. It's because it changed me. It changed my inner workings. And once this shifts, this outer stuff shifts very quickly. So no matter how hopeless it might feel, if we can find a different relationship to that hopelessness and start looking for mechanisms to dismantle, or start looking for beliefs that we thought were true, or recordings that we play that we buy into, we start looking for that, then we can, by touching it with our awareness, it clears the field, and we can get to a much clearer space inside and be in that much closer to right relationship to these pieces, because all of them across the board, mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, interdimensional, all these layers, you know, they're all incepted with this machinery, because it's all meant to keep our life force locked in a certain place, so we really are unable to focus our will and our power to what it is we truly want, which is the whole reason why we're actually here on this planet, why Pachamama has us here playing out this drama within her dream. All right, dear sister Tasha says, hey, Ray Ellen, good to see you. Dear sister Tasha says, I have a couple of Lisa Renee's transmissions and activations. I find them really helpful. I don't understand it all either. Thank you. I'm not alone in that. Yeah. But you feel what I mean. It's like, I don't really understand the words, but I feel what's happening here. And I know on some level it's important. It's important for me. And really the people who are resonating with her type of work that's very Guardian Alliance oriented. I want to talk about that for a second. So we have all these nesting dolls that are creating our reality. We have a collective field. All right, a lot of humans are woke up to the collective field. They understand collective consciousness. Carl Jung did this really great work about the collective subconscious. So the intellectual realm also has a hold of the impact of the collective. So you know, humanity that's interested in transformation and self-realization and empowerment and stuff like this, you know, they're awoke to the whole idea of this collective field. Maybe a more advanced idea about that is the concept of linear time, but in general, a lot of humans are, you know, they have a grasp on that. And then a little less amount of humans have a grasp on that next outer nesting doll, which is this circular time, this idea of this Akashic field where you can unravel things from the perceived past to heal the present. Okay, so there's people, so there's maybe a less amount of people opened up to that idea. And then you have another nesting doll, which is the idea that there is sacred geometry, there's light geometry behind all forms, right? And there's, of course, many people, especially in the new age, and these younger generations of indigos and starseeds, they're awoke to that. They love the geometry stuff, right? And they love analyzing, you know, all the different sacred symbolism. Michael Desarian did an amazing body of work on that. He's been doing that for decades. So there's humans in our collective, many millions of humans in our collective that are in touch with that part. And then you have another level of humans that are in touch with sound and frequency and how this impacts our form. It impacts our body's particles, but then it also impacts the wave form of our bodies, right? So because we're either particle or wave. That also is another new language that came to me recently out of conversation that I liked. So and then you have another outer nesting doll, and this is where there's a lot of conflict and confusion, and that is about the oneness, the all that is. Now, many humans that are awoke to that level don't think there's anything further from that. That's it. Oh yeah, I'm at the all it is. That's all there is, right? But there's a lot more beyond that. So we'd have to so there's another layer of mechanism of beast machinery that keeps us complacent or content with just being in the all that is, and how that assists our lives in the here and now. So now we have devout practices that we stick to keep us in alignment or in awareness of God, right? The all that is being God. But to go even beyond that, the Madre de Dios, the Mother of God, this idea that there's something beyond the all that is, still a few million humans are awoke to that, and still many of them don't go beyond. And these are the ones that, these are the light workers, these are the starseeds, the indigos, the other kinds of gifted beings that, you know, are content with the knowledge awareness of their membership of the Galactic Federation. Okay, that they are a part of a benevolent council that is dedicated to holding the integrity of the field of the all that is. Many people are completely happy with that, and they're going to stick with that for a while. But what's going to happen, or what is happening, is that these new energies that are coming in are blasting that system out of the water, blasting it out of people's consciousness, where they cannot hold the integrity of that anymore, because there's more. Who they are even beyond that is awakening. So I'm talking about when you're in the all that is, and the Madre de Dios, the Mother of God, that's beyond that 9D. That's the galactic mind. And these frequencies that are coming in are challenging us to expand our awareness even beyond that. Okay. And then maybe we become intergalactic. Now we're aware of all these different galaxies participating in a sacred drama with us. Okay. So there's that. And of course, you're going to need to address these pieces with different language. You need to relate to things in a very different way. So how you used to relate to things as a member of the Galactic Federation, or how you used to relate to things as an angelic human, or how you used to relate to things in certain aspects, has to shift yet again in order to incorporate this new layer of self of who you are that's waking up. It has to have a place within your being, or else, you know, you'll feel like you're going crazy, or you will go crazy. Actually, I know several people who have gone off the deep end. And that looks like, you know, excessive addictions, addictions to either video games, sex, addiction to power. There's a lot of that going on. Addiction to chemicals, to plant medicines, all this stuff. So every time you awake past a certain nesting doll, it has a lot of challenges that come with it. And as you successfully navigate and integrate these aspects of yourself, you're questioning your beliefs that you've had your whole life. You're questioning why you do certain things, why you've been drawn to certain things. You know, a lot of stuff that has once been a pillar to your faith, your trust, gets questioned. And that goes into even the feeling of trust being abused, another layer of the machinery. Okay. Then we have what's beyond the galactic mind. And this is what I want to tune you guys into, and it may be difficult to feel. But before I go into that part of activating, I want to talk about the work of George Kavassilas. Now, I talk about him a lot, and it's because he's the only human I know that has really dived deeply into these realms and has been able to come to places of much deeper, liberated, sovereign understanding of his personal relationship as a multidimensional infinite being in a biosuit to these other pieces. He really challenges dogma very, very well. He challenges all these accepted realities very, very well. One of them being the idea that we were created, as in our soul's been created. You know, if your soul by definition is infinite, that means that there's no beginning or end to it. So therefore you cannot actually be created. You've always been so. Okay, that challenges a lot of beliefs. But once you are able to let go of these sacredly held belief systems that have been on this planet for a long time, the kinds of questions, the important questions to ask, start to surface. And he is someone who has definitely pioneered that, those grounds. So he writes about something called empire, the interdimensional cosmic empire. Now, you guys know how we have the story of Earth being a farm, you know, like there's these beings that live off our life force energy, and then, you know, they're part of a larger empire. Some people call them the Anunnaki or the reptilians, or, you know, actually some people have woken up to realize it's a very highly advanced AI, AI operating, whatever the details of the narrative don't matter. It's more about this idea that there is a vast, vast empire that is built on the commodity of life force energy. And the most important thing to understand about this empire is that it's finite. It has to constantly be fed. It does not resource its own energy. It's not an infinite energy source. It has to capitalize on the energy of other. That's how it operates. A really great revealing movie about the magnitude of this empire is that movie Jupiter Ascending. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. Really, really interesting flick. It's a sci-fi movie that came out many years ago, maybe in the early 2000s. Anyway, in that narrative, they address that each of these different family members owned farms, and these farms were planets that were all over the galaxies. And so this gave an interesting human narrative to the idea of empire. And George Kavassilas takes it even further and says that this is a vast, very sophisticated, interdimensional reality. And you can look at his work and get very discouraged. But remember that we are vaster than this. With this empire reality exists because some part of us was interested in playing in that playground. So that part of us that was interested in playing in that playground, as this new light comes in and activates us, those aspects, those more quantum level aspects of who we are, that's what's getting activated. So that means we are aware on some level that this was simply a choice to participate. It was simply a choice. And we can simply, from that same level, unravel our entanglements with that choice and choose something else. So we wake up, we're getting activated, we're waking up beyond the collective mind, beyond the Akasha, beyond the galactic mind, and we start going into a more vaster type of construct. And what I want to mention here is that our galaxy is in alignment and in resonance with millions and millions and millions and millions of other galaxies. And this is what the scientists call superclusters, where there are superclusters of galaxies aligned in certain ways where they travel together through the cosmos. So our sun is traveling through the Milky Way. It's in one of the arms of the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way is traveling through the cosmos, and that Milky Way is traveling in consistent relationship to these other galaxies through the cosmos. And this particular supercluster was discovered in Hawaii, and they, of course, named it, I think it was Laniakea. I might have that name twisted a little bit, Laniakea. I don't know. Is Joanne here? She would know. Anyway, so I just feel into that idea that the Milky Way galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy, all these other galaxies are traveling together through the cosmos, exploring the same resonant field. And the question that Kavassilas' work brings forward is that resonant field a part of empire? Is it a part of that system that commodifies life force energy? Now, in order to commodify life force energy, that means you need to have command or control of creational forces. And the most powerful creational force known to any being is the womb space. So we have personal womb spaces and we have cosmic mother womb spaces, right? So just feel into this, because the different kinds of groups that come forward, the different councils, the different alliances, the different federations, right? You have to really feel into where they are in relationship to where you want to be, where your soul essence has you. because maybe the power over empire is something you're still interested in exploring. If that's the truth, then yes, that's okay. There's no good, bad, right, or wrong with that. For me personally, I feel like, I'm here. This is going to sound strange, but there's an aspect of me, only a small aspect of me is actually incarnated in a body. But I'm connected with a much larger aspect of me that's beyond and outside of these superclusters and has another picture going on. And I think this is why I can see these pieces so clearly and understand them when I hear them. So for me personally, I am more in alignment with this with the agenda, let's say, of liberating cosmic mother's womb, the sacred mother, and all forces that try to hijack that, the force of the sacred mother. So for me, I have that. That's how these things get put into relationship, and this is how I'm able to see what's important to unwind, what's important not to unwind, what is essential versus what is a waste of energy. And I'm saying all these things just to feel in your body. These are seeds, activating seeds. If you are, getting activated or starting to feel a little altered, or maybe some pressure in your ears or pressure behind your eyes, you have some of these seeds in you. And if you're just kind of listening, well, and saying, what the heck, you might be on another path. Only you can decide that, really. So going back to this new light, those of us who are on the trajectory, we've awoke past the galactic mind, and we are working at integrating these other pieces and dissolving and dismantling this machinery that keeps us locked in an energy draining situation. And that can be on many nesting doll layers. And what's interesting about this is that the frequencies that are coming through feel like they're brand new. And what I'm proposing here is that these energies, this new dawn, so to speak, they are new in the sense that we have not seen this light in many millions of years. We have not seen these frequencies in a long, long, long time. And now, right now, at this time of all of these cycles coming to a close at once, this light is shining through. We get to see it again. We get to wake up out of the soul's journey and recognize this much more expanded quantum level of who we are, and how much we are excited to participate in this game that we call life on Earth. Many of us sitting here, right now, I'm sure can feel the love we have for the Pachamama, the love we have for the Sacred Mother. And that's a very, very important part of our compass. Because love and compassion is how we unravel this machinery that has hijacked these different nesting dolls of who we are, who's tricked us into colluding with our own disempowerment and separation and traumas. So the collective fields, so many people are waking up right now. The collective fields have these massive waves of energy going through them, and it's creating a crisis of faith for a lot of folks. Okay, and for those of us who've been doing this work for a while, we can recognize that new light coming in. And the crisis, more of what we're facing, is aspects of us that still is in these mechanisms. And it's because our trust has been abused. It's because our love has been abused. It's because, we've gone to the most expanded levels that we could in the past, and we still didn't break free from the overall system, the empire. And that event is very discouraging indeed. But feel into the truth of what I'm saying about these cycles. There's a doorway now where we have the ability to transcend, to completely transcend these pieces. And I'm not saying that as in trust. I'm saying that as in connect with the knowing inside. Is that part of your spiritual agenda? Is that part of why your spirit is here walking this earth? Is to not only wake up to this window of opportunity, but to recruit as many people as possible to that window, to recognize that window of opportunity. Or maybe it's to connect with as many of like-minded people on the same vibration to recognize this doorway. This doorway isn't recognized by all souls, by all beings. Only those of us who have awoke past the galactic planes, past the galactic mind. And you'll know that if you're one of them, because you'll have identification and resonance with other galaxies, such as Andromeda. Do you guys have a resonance with Andromeda? Do you notice anything about that, right? If you do, then know that, this is part of you that has been activated that can reach past the galactic plane of the Milky Way galaxy and connect into these other galactic consciousness. Now, there are many, many, many galaxies within our supercluster, and all of them we can connect into and wake up to. And then there's even beyond that to connect to and wake up to. And that's what this new light is doing. It's activating this aspect of us that can expand our consciousness even beyond these superclusters. If you see what I mean. Even beyond these massive, massive resonant tendrils, and pretty much see and experience and collude with other universes outside of the current one we're in. I hope this makes sense the way I'm saying it. All right, darlings. You guys have questions about what I'm talking about? Let me know that you're following me, because I know this is pretty expanded and it might put a lot of pressure on the biosuit going here with your awareness. So everything that we're watching unfold right now didn't start here. So that might be helpful to remind yourself of. But also, everything that's going on here, if you choose to relate to it in a way that empowers you, that is what's going to keep you growing stronger by the moment. We may go into hopelessness for a little while. We may, fall into an old story for a little while, but that's why we have each other. We can say, hey, this is your story. Hey, this is what's been going on your whole life. Hey, pay attention to this pattern. It's a pattern. It's not the full truth. Okay. And in this way, we have each other's backs, and this way we can help hold each other up and lift each other high by the space we hold in the questioning. So it's up to us how we choose to relate to all these pieces. Like, for example, the war narrative is really getting ratcheted up. Why is that getting ratcheted up? Because the other grids of manipulation don't have the power that they used to have. But this war grid that they have going on, they have total domination of that grid. They have total domination of it still. I'm talking about the powers that be, the different nesting dolls that connect right into the leaders that we have in this country and other countries. And you guys might wonder, why in the world is war such a big thing right now? It's like, it's pretty much every single politician we have benefits in some way by war. Now, not just our country, all the countries, China, Russia, even Ukraine, the UK, pretty much everybody that's considered NATO. People who make money off of arms dealing isn't on any side. They're on their own side. So they are extrapolating massive wealth and power from war. Pretty much if you, if you look at pretty much any politician's financial situation, they have portfolios that they're invested in. They are heavily involved in investment groups. And this is how they deflect their connection. They're absolutely connected because those investment groups are the ones investing in, military defense. These groups are the ones that are investing in different weapons factories and stuff like this. So it's like, it's not a direct line to these politicians. It's more of it's more scattered, diffuse than that. But bottom line is they all are benefiting. They all are benefiting. So that's why they're into it. They've all, the seduction of power is a really, really important thing to not discount. Humans are inundated. If they're not doing their personal work, they are inundated with these mechanisms of power over dynamics. And for them, it's okay because they're going to be okay. Other people are going to suffer, and that is not the true human spirit. The true human spirit that is the caretaker of this reality cares about all the ecosystems, all of the societies, all of the different groups and tribes and how they flourish or not. Raping a country of its resources and ruining the lives of its population is not a real solution. Okay. But that's exactly what our green movement is doing because it's been hijacked. The true spirit of our green movement is to be caretakers of this planet, to be caretakers of our community. Okay. So these, it's up to us to find the right relationship to these pieces. Us connecting with other people in our circles, other people of like mind is really, really helpful. We need to keep showing up for each other no matter what. Show up for each other no matter what. Even if you're tired and you don't feel like it, even if this person triggered you last time, show up because your presence really matters. You can really help someone have a massive breakthrough by just listening to them spew their story. Now, spewing, when held in the right kind of space, remember, does lead to unraveling. Where it doesn't lead to unraveling is when you are colluding with the spew. Like someone brings up, oh, can you believe this transhuman thing, blah, 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 blah. And they're belaboring, they're unknowingly reliving drama around that. And then you start colluding with the trauma drama with, oh my gosh, I know, it freaks me out. And these people are this and these people are that. That's not space holding. Space holding is listening only. Space holding is listening. Now, if you're jumping in and asking questions, now you're space holding and facilitating at the same time, which many people do. So when I'm talking about getting together with your friends and hold space together, this is what I'm talking about. Just listen and hold space. So you can expedite the release of these narratives that are all complicit in your disempowerment, all of them. And you keep going until you can feel that spark of love inside of you, that spark inside of you that wants to and is willing to love no matter what. No matter what. Your love cannot be turned off. It is a radiant, infinite light that has no end. And that's where you want to get. That's the goal, so to speak. All right, so we have our new dawn, those energies and what they're hitting up against inside of us. We have those mechanisms, that machinery that I was talking about. We have, the transhumanism data sets that we have all around us, how to work that in a way to become more empowered. And what was the other one? Wow, I'm feeling a lot of pressure all through here. It's kind of making me spacey. There's one more piece in there, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe it'll come. But our hour has gone by so quickly. I swear I was sitting here for 10 minutes. Amazing. All right, darlings. Well, thank you so much for being here. I do encourage everybody to like this video and subscribe, and if you're not already, and then comment, maybe share this with some friends that you think might find this helpful. That helps other people find our videos. We do zero advertising. We don't monetize anything, so this is completely just natural, organic reach that we have, and you guys can really help expand that reach by doing these things. We have the Dreamtime Healing Project, guys. If you are interested in learning how to do your part and dreaming the world into being, I encourage you guys to check out that subscription. It's at bare minimum 4 sessions a month, but there's added recap sessions in there that you're welcome to participate in. So it really is a heavily, you are engaged with a lot of live community work and dream shares. So if you guys want to check that out or feel called to it anyway, that's the Dreamtime Healing Project at lightbodyacademy.com. And coming up in October, we will be opening enrollment up again for our Healer Acceleration Lab. So just a little reminder there, that's not going to happen until October, but it will open up again. So for those of you who are looking to go into more advanced levels of this work. All right. And that is it for me. I think my spot might be ready. I'll be able to pull in and park my rig. Love you guys. I shall see you next time. Mwah. I hope you guys make it a great week. Bye.